Welcome back, episode 32. We're just gonna go off the cuff and just get on MMA topics. This is stuff we gotta in between now. This coming up weekend, we have no fights. No fights. I feel like there's a Bellator.
Is it 2 weeks no fights? I feel like it's 2 weeks.
I don't think so. I think it's the week.
3-7 or 3-10 are the next fights. Isn't that 209?
No. I thought that there was one before that. I could totally be wrong. But either way, in the news right now while you're looking that up, one of the biggest things that we saw, not this... Was it this weekend? Was Chris Cyborg at the fights this weekend, or was it the week before?
Wait.
No, it was the week before. Yeah, it wasn't this because it was the 145. But either way, it was very telling. Since then, all of the latest news has come out, and if you've listened to any of our other podcasts prior to, we have a love-hate relationship with Christiana Cyborg. We love her and think that she is the best, and there's just been so much weird stuff with her entire career, and it's hard to give her credibility, or it's hard to give her the benefit of the doubt, because she's already popped previously, and this time it all went in her favor. The UFC and the Athletic Commission did give her a exemption, and they already retroactively fitted her exemption to said time. Is she's already served her time, so she's looking to fight GDR, Darren Dame, immediately. But Darren Dame, after the fight, after all the dust settled, has come out and said that she hurt her hand. But I have since seen or listened to...
I have to get surgery on my hand.
Right. And but on the interview, I believe it was on Ariel Helwani, she was saying that she had known prior to
the fight,
the Holly fight, that she probably had to get surgery on her hand. Not only after she won did she do it, and the easiest way for a fan or anyone to think of it is that she's ducking Cyborg, and it's really
hard. She came out and said this is why other people... I feel like a lot of people were like, okay, you need surgery. A lot of fighters have injuries going in. But I think the issue was that she told Cyborg, well, I might have to get surgery on my hand. And then she immediately offered Holly Holmes a rematch. So people are like, I thought you had to get surgery on your hand.
Yeah. So it's a weird division. Obviously, it was created for Chris Cyborg to be the champ there. I think that GDR...
If you're Chris Cyborg, do you sue USADA for this? Like, this could have cost her millions of dollars. It cost her a title.
She is saying that Joe Rogan had a lot to do with this because he was saying that she was on certain kind of stuff when apparently she wasn't. I don't know why they give her the benefit of the doubt.
I do remember when Joe Rogan came on and was very chael sonnen. Very like, here's exactly what she's on, here's what it does, here's what it's for.
I know this because I know this, and I was just putting the nails in the coffin before the body was dead, essentially. Like, she wasn't... it was just speculation. There was just other shit. Once other various testing went on, she was found by a commission to be... with it.
Supplied by a doctor because she was in such dire straits after her weight cut previously.
Right, so she did everything right, and she was in the right for this. And
it's really important for people to know, she's like, I'm not a cheater. And regardless, I feel like if you lied in the past, it doesn't always make you a liar. If you cheated in the past, it doesn't make you a cheater. But if you're somebody that fucked up somewhere legitimately in your past and you've really tried everything in your power to play by the rules now, and then have this happen, it's kind of... And Joe Rogan with the powerlifting.
I was about to say,
with the powerlifting.
He was saying that, and
why is this... This is the other thing, too. Why is Chris Cyborg expected to... The same way I always talk shit about her, where I'm like, why is Chris Cyborg always calling out Ronda? They're entirely different weight classes. We wouldn't allow Eddie Alvarez to talk that way to DJ and it be okay. They're like in these entirely different weight classes. It'd be one thing if Demetrius Johnson calls out the heavier guy, but for the heavier guy to call out the lighter person, and that's what Chris has kind of done to Ronda from the beginning. But why... And this is me at fault too. Why do we all expect Chris to get to an unreachable weight? Imagine if we were like, I'm sorry, Bisping. Like, you have to get to 155 if you want to fight. Like, it wouldn't even ever happen. It's really interesting we're expecting somebody to get down to an unreachable, unhealthy weight. But it's her only option.
Well, they created a 145 now, so they gave her options now.
But why 145? Why not even go heavier? Why 145? Don't you think that's an odd choice?
I think that there's markets out there, there's research, and UFC puts probes all over the world, and you can see with the competition. Either the competition that's out there isn't quality that they want to put it in the UFC, or it's not there. It's kind of one or the other.
And
or
who's
it could
Megan
be both.
Anderson that was talking?
Yeah, she's from Australia, is she not?
I have no idea.
I believe she's Australian, and she is a babe. She can fight. She has had some fights that haven't been to the caliber of UFC level, but there isn't a UFC level. I mean, we're seeing 3 fighters at 145 right now, and essentially every 135er that's moving to die. That they're whatever.
But can't you say about the women's
graveyard.
division, we're seeing them
graveyard.
in a 2-year span of time do what it took men division. I mean, granted, men laid all the...
Yes,
it's just
100%.
growing so quick in
Yeah.
leaps and bounds that there's no reason to think that a year from now, when we're talking about the 145 division, there's not as many people that are in the 135. If you really think about the women's 135, it ain't that thick. It's not
No,
like,
it really
it's
isn't.
a chain link
It really
fence
isn't.
that you have to compete with.
It really, really isn't. And there was quite a few women that were... Not quite a few, but there was some women that were also dropped recently in those divisions to make room for other talent to come in. One of those being Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy, Radadice.
We love Lauren Murphy.
We love Lauren Murphy. She's always got that fighting spirit. She's always going in there to try to win a fight, even if she can be outmatched sometimes. Love you, Lauren Murphy. But she actually was having some really fun tweeting battles with Jessica Ai, because Jessica Ai has had, I believe, a worse record against some opponents being worse. I think Leslie Smith might be her only win because of that ear pop.
And Leslie would have won that fight.
She was coming back.
We have a pick named after Leslie.
Exactly, because in these...
We saw Hart. She would have fought with her ear falling off her head, and then right after that, she fought Cyborg.
Right.
That's Hart.
And then she had cancer in her belly button or something like that.
Yeah.
And is still fighting.
Yeah.
So, Lauren Murphy was throwing some shade over at Jessica Ai, who Lesbo here, despises. And I can say that I don't despise her.
Jessica Ai is my least favorite one. I just think she's overrated. I think she's she has all these fans.
She shouldn't be in the UFC.
She should not be in the UFC.
And who should be?
I don't know if Lauren Murphy should be in the UFC, but I don't think if you're going to make a decision between those two women,
right,
I would keep Lauren Murphy, and I'd put my money on her against Jessica Ai all day. But if you're the UFC, the only reason I believe Jessica Ai is there is because she pulls an Ohio audience, and that'll be the only way we see her fight again. We'll only see her fight on an Ohio card, mark my words. We won't see anything about Jessica Ai because no one cares. And if we do see her fight in Ohio, they'll probably throw her up a shill. And I'm already going to say whoever the shill is, like whoever the can is, in quotes, that they throw up against her, will beat her. I think they'll beat her.
It'll be an upset.
Yes, because I just don't think she has what it takes to be a superhero. And I think the women in the UFC at the top caliber of the rungs are superheroes, and Jessica Ai's name shouldn't even be mentioned with them.
Bold words. Yeah,
well, it does make me a little irritated, so I can see Lauren Murphy's points and all of it.
Yeah,
If I were in the exact same, like, why are they pushing this chick so hard?
Well, in my train of thought, I can see it, the UFC's aspect, their brand. They want to start to build brands. You can see it with Cody, with everyone, and everyone is building their own brands along with the UFC. And Lauren Murphy is a bit on the older side, and she's a little more battle-worn, and it shows a little more on her, where Jessica Ai is definitely a younger, a bit more attractive, I'd even say. In the face, I don't know why. She's just... Lauren Murphy looks more like a mom to me, and I love Lauren Murphy. I think she's a beautiful woman, but I think that the UFC's
Do you think Jessica
marketing...
Ai is cute?
I think she's cuter than Lauren Murphy.
Well, I just think that against the other has nothing to do with it to me.
Oh, I don't know. I think that the UFC likes Jessica Ai.
Do you think Jessica Ai is cute?
I don't think Jessica Ai is
Me
cute.
either.
Yeah, I don't think she's
Me
cute.
either. I'm not talking about looks. Like,
yeah.
I can.
But I think promotionally it matters. That's what I'm saying. I think that the UFC has marketing teams, and they're just like, she can barely make it, but people attract to her. Maybe I don't like her, but other people can.
No, I think it's the same. It's like you have Stipe and you have Jessica Ai and you have Cody Garbrandt, and they all come out of the middle of the country, and it's good to hedge your bet for
also
a card.
Promotionally.
Yeah.
They know that that's a draw in that area, and they're willing to take the lesser fighter for the ticket sale at that point. And I think that kind of is what happened to Lauren Murphy, because the caliber of fighters that she lost to were leaps and bounds.
Well, I think Uncle Creepy is a UFC conspiracy at this point. I think they just put him on so it builds all the momentum for the fight. And then, because he always makes weigh-ins, so that lets you know we're talking about him. Yeah, but we're talking exactly. And really, what are the UFC fighters making?
Yeah, not
for
much,
that, not much at all.
all.
So I feel like just to keep his name on as a card fluffer, because Uncle Creepy has a name, everyone's waiting, Uncle Creepy. But at this point, Brennan Schaub might as well make the same paycheck, because he hasn't fought for the same amount of time Uncle Creepy hasn't fought. It's ridiculous at this point. Ian McCall. I don't even want to hear his name on a card.
Back
Unless
in the day,
they just start having the Ian McCall, whoever the person he's going against, or will the fight happen as part of on DraftKings. I want this fight, the PPD. I want that as a pick in an Ian McCall fight.
I, since back in the day, on air have always thought the real fight for Ian McCall is to get in that ring and fight. That's the real. That is even getting there. The fight, once he's there, he'll do his thing. But it's all for. I could see it a while ago. He's just injury prone. He was just on Rogan doing the fight companion recently. And he was showing his hands, which he's done a few times. And I'm just like, I understand that you're showing people this because you're kind of battle worn. But at the same time, you're kind of showing one of your hands, like in a poker hand. Like, I know that hand can barely even make a fist, let alone grapple.
Yeah.
I can start to either phase that out because I don't have to worry about that hand, or other stuff, but it's just, if that kind of stuff is happening and you're just doing nothing, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, he's starting his own podcast as well, and he's starting to think outside of it. Eddie Bravo really laid into him, like, dude, your body's shutting down. Apparently, he was unable to swallow food, or he was throwing everything up the day of the fight and everything, and
because he's going to a weight he shouldn't be going to at his
age. Exactly. Well, that's what Eddie's initially saying, but Eddie's just like, on top of you can't make a fist, you got all this other stuff. Why keep doing it? Like, you've had 5 fights fall out. What else do you need to tell you to not fight anymore? And Ian McCall's like, dude, what else do? I have my podcast that's starting, and I think he's really taking a look at that, and you'll see Ian McCall really making a whole...
Do you like his personality?
Oh, I think he's a little douchebag. I told you before that, off air, back in the day, he's not been as abrasive as he's started to be more as of recent, but I feel like he's building the heelness into himself. He realizes he's kind of a heel, and he's even going to do it in his podcast. He's very unapologetic, which is fine. I don't give a shit about that. But there's times that he says things purely for the reaction of the people. Purely, you know that there some of the times it's outlandish the way he says things, and he also will be like, oh, I know I'm being a dick, because he understands what he's saying, and I think that it's a gimmick. I think that
I'll say this about
that.
Ian McCall. If his name wasn't Uncle Creepy, he wouldn't be here right now. The only reason his fights aren't memorable.
He's always been a top contender. He was a WEC top contender. I think he's the only person to beat DJ in a decision that early in his career. But
didn't Neil Seary or somebody really weird? Oh, maybe somebody else weird beat. Who that freaking guy from London that just pulled out of a fight. He fought. He got his ass beat by Faber.
Oh, I can't think of it. Brad Pickett.
He beat
Brad Pickett. There's a couple, but Brad Pickett made a career. He lost 4 or 5 in a row before he got cut. Why? Because anytime they needed to bring up adversity or they needed highlight reels, they show Brad Pickett freaking getting DJ in a submission or something like that. So that's a testament to DJ, how long he's gone, that people can ride his coattails on this. That one win made my career.
Well, that's the thing you were saying on Monday's show is you want the guy that beat you to become champion.
Of course, so it makes you look so much better.
It's the one thing that Brad Pickett gets to ride on. Well, I beat DJ by decision.
Exactly. And nobody's done that in 8 years. So what do you like? Yeah, it's valid. It's a valid point. I think that this goes really good into another topic we wanted to get into, which was the ranking systems based off of the fights that happened. Carla Esparza specifically over Ronda Marcos. Ronda Marcos just had a split decision victory. Still a victory, is still a win. Over Carla Esparza. And Esparza is still ranked, what is it, 5th or 6th above?
I don't know. I'll pull those up
I believe it's Esparza 6th and Miranda Marcos is ranked 8th right now. I totally could be wrong on that. What I think is going on there, and I feel like potentially Chael Sonnen was hitting on this topic, is that the UFC's doing this whole ranking systems in all of this and putting people, I think Joban was even talking about it, Alan Joban, that the ranking systems are there for contractual obligations so that when the UFC says, we know you just beat Anderson Silva, but he's number 10th, and guess what?
So Carla Esparza was 8th, and what did you say Ronda Marcos?
Ronda Marcos, I thought she was 8th.
Again.
She's then like 10th or something.
9th,
and Carla Esparza's 8th.
8th.
So, and she just beat her.
There's no, what sport does that ever happen? Where you stay ahead of me on the rankings after I beat you?
Again, as I was just explaining, I think that it's for contracts. It's contracts that UFC says, well, you're only 9th. If you were in the top 5, we could give you that much money, but you're not.
I don't think Andrade should be over Rose. Well, Rose was on a loss. She did lose, so that, okay. Michelle Watterson, she shouldn't be ranked so high yet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We haven't seen her fight enough, even though we all think she's awesome.
Yep.
We haven't seen her, and she schooled Paige,
PVZ,
who we all think is a little overrated.
Exactly.
So Claudia Gadelia's 1. KK's 2. KK shouldn't be 2 on a loss. Even though she lost to the champion, she got fluffed to get to that fight to begin with.
She needs to have a couple more fights in the UFC.
Yes, so there's just some sketchy stuff. I don't remember the fighter who was talking about it, but the only way that an interim belt should exist is if an injury happens where the champion can't defend his belt right away, or there's something sketchy going on with USADA or a something weird like a court case, something.
Right.
That's the only way an interim belt should exist. The UFC is diluting what it means to be a champion of the weight class and diluting what it means to be a champion of the sport by introducing all these belts to every division.
I think that all valid points.
Alistair Overeem in the heavyweight division is rated 3rd.
And this is
that's
the UFC.
Bullshit.
This is the UFC rankings right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the UFC rankings.
Right. Just for people online know that what we're looking at. And there's many other fan rankings that I think are much more valid. And I think maybe we should start our own ranking system.
We should. We totally
really should.
Here at Lesbo lesboandthebean.com. We should put it to some good use and just keep up our rankings.
Our own personal rankings.
Change them out.
Right. Also remember to follow us at Twitter.
Or at least for top 10. I don't want to get at least for top 10 rankings.
Yeah. I even like up and comers. Like, oh, look at these people that are. What we can get into it and see how far we want to go, but we should really.
Yeah, I'm looking at these. Ngannou is above Lewis. That shouldn't happen yet. Ngannou
Lewis
hasn't had the fights.
Right,
Dos Anjos, and Overeem. This doesn't make any sense to me. Number 1. It's Stipe for Fabricio Verdum, Cain Velasquez. 3rd, Overeem. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. He just he shouldn't even be fighting Stipe when he fought Stipe. So then it goes Junior Dos Santos. Doesn't make sense to me. Ben Rothwell. He's been on a tear. Okay, whatever. Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Mark Hunt, Andrei Arlovsky, Travis Brown is above Stefan Struve. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Travis Brown, how many times do you get to lose and stay in the top 15? He should be ranked in the 30s at this point. There should be guys... When does your record matter? When does...
I feel like that was what Derek Lewis was saying over the weekend with that interim belt. And just kind of
I gotta poop.
I gotta take a dookie, and I got this fake-ass belt because this don't mean shit. Where's Ronda Rousey's fine ass at?
Ronda Rousey fine ass. She probably liked hearing that.
I don't know. I think she's the type of person. Even if I was
mad, even if I was like, oh, he just beat up my boyfriend or whatever, and then he's like, where's Lesbo's fine ass? I'd be like, oh, I'm so mad at him. Thank you.
I think that she's a ride or die.
Chris
Travis
Weidman's
is ride or die.
4th in the middleweight division.
these people are losing to the top 2 and 3 people. They're not losing.
should be above Weidman.
That's tough. Weidman's only losing to the fucking 1 and 2 guys. 1 and 2 guys. 3 guys. Rockhold, Souza. Who else did he lose to? That's it?
Rockhold and Souza, yeah.
Or not Souza, Romero.
Yeah, but I just think your record should matter somewhere.
Yeah?
Somewhere Anderson Silva's 7th.
That doesn't make any sense at all. At all.
Surely
name.
It should be Bisping, Romero, Rockhold, and Weidman. Then it could be Jacquard or Souza because he's actually on a winning streak. Then I would say Gegard and Whitaker would be above Chris Weidman right now. As much as I like Chris Weidman more, I just think somewhere your win should mean something. Brunson still Vitor is still really high. He's number 9th.
That's unreal that Vitor is
These are just so stupid. Yeah, these are so stupid. Anyways, we can go on to other things.
So, with other things, GSP is a big hot topic in the news right now currently. He's officially back. He's been signed.
And he's rated number 1 in 3 weight classes, and one of them is the woman's.
Oh, it's... that mofo. Faraza Hobby was also on the MMA Hour recently talking about his brother's fight and GSP and how he knew a little bit ahead of time that GSP was coming back. He also was... saying that GSP has never ever quit training so that he feels like GSP, he even hinted that he thought GSP could have went to 155 back in the day when he was holding the belt.
That's the smartest thing for him.
So, I think even Faraz is putting in like hey, GSP might be going to 155 in his next fight, but let's speculate. Let's speculate.
Is that so we can add Connor's name to every conversation?
Well, this is the fun thing about this GSP is that he left on top. Doesn't happen. Doesn't ever happen. He left on top. So
what was his last fight?
Johnny Hendricks. Split decision. A lot of people thought Johnny Hendricks won that fight.
I have a faith on that because I feel like Johnny Hendricks at 170 is worthless. He just couldn't make the weight as an older person.
Some people at 170.
And the older he got,
the
harder it was to make that weight.
Sure.
And the making of that weight cost him in those later fights. I think purely that. Because we can see now after the Lombard fight, it wasn't because Hendricks couldn't take a punch.
Right.
It was because his brain had no fluid.
Yeah, liquid in it.
I don't know. I'm just not. I am #yawn with GSP.
So with GSP, because he does come in and under unique circumstances, he does want to go. Faraz Hobby was saying specifically that more than likely he wants GSP wants to do all of the USADA. He's always been very by the book, and if it's 3 months, because it used to be the whole Brock Lesnar thing. What was it, like 3 months or 30 days when you come in off of a layoff, that you get some sort of exemption, but GSP wants to do. That's why
Brock retired again.
Yeah, exactly.
So he can do that bullshit.
And come back in on another money grab and come in, make a bunch of fucking money and head on out. So GSP has Michael Bisping, which is a super fight at 185. Fucking any 170 or Tyron Woodley.
I think Woodley, give him his money fight. If he beats friggin' Thompson again, and he's been calling for the money fight since he got the belt.
Right.
Give him GSP.
I think that GSP is his best fight. Well, the most size that he's not going to give up is going to be Tyron Woodley. I don't know about power, because I think Woodley might throw power.
I think Woodley walks around at 205.
I don't know if he gets that big, but I think
I feel like Michael Bisping was saying
that I
Woodley
believe
walks around heavier than Michael Bisping walks around.
I believe, because Bisping he doesn't get too heavy. He's a 185er, but he's much, much taller and longer, and it's a boring fight.
To me, there's no reason for GSP at his age to go into the middleweight division. The middleweight division is the most frightening division of killers.
If it's for a belt, it might potentially be worth it.
I don't think he can beat anyone in the top. Anderson.
I was about to say. So the fight that everyone else is talking about is you just make a fight that should have been a super fight. It's just like the Johnny Hendricks Lombard. That would have been a title fight at welterweight 2 years ago. A year and a half ago, that would have been a welterweight title match. Hector Lombard versus Johnny Hendricks. But now they're both at 185. I think that...
Okay, GSP in the middleweights, top 8. I think he can beat Vitor.
Yeah. He gives up so much fucking size to these guys. He's like 5'8", 5'9".
I think he can contend with Anderson.
Now, I think Anderson is a super fight to make
from
with him.
6 up. I don't think GSP can beat these guys. I think he gets murked.
Do you think that Anderson or GSP's willing to not fight for a championship belt because he comes in with having the belt?
Only if the name's big enough.
But which is only Woodley or Bisping, or if he goes to 155 and. If he gets Conor at 55, that is going to break anything. But
I would be more excited than Conor, for me personally. Khabib versus GSP.
That's a ridiculously fun fight, but I just want to stay so far. I don't even want either of those fighters to fucking look past each other. Like, that fight just needs to happen, and then we'll talk about everything else.
Well, I think winner goes to Conor, loser gets GSP. And any way you cut that,
but will GSP take a loser? Fun. That's what I'm like. GSP comes in with credentials because he hasn't lost in so long. I just feel like
Khabib, GSP, no one else is talking about that fight. Yeah. To me, that would be the most exciting. Woodley, GSP second.
And that's saying GSP jumps down to 155.
I don't think GSP is going to fight Robbie Lawler. What do you think about GSP Damian Maia?
That's a fun fight. That's a scary fight for anybody. But I like that Robbie Lawler. I like you throwing Robbie Lawler out there. That's a fun-ass fight for GSP.
This is why, and it's not a championship fight, but they both got names.
And they both have former champions, which does add credibility. And Robbie Lawler held the belt for a while. I'd say one of the longest compared to GSP in that division.
There's no interim title in the welterweight.
No, let's make two.
There is no interim yet, so there's just Tyron. They have an interim in every other one. Here's with your idea, GSP is only going to fight for a belt. We put up an interim, Robbie Lawler versus GSP.
Who else is in contention other than Thompson for that Woodley fight right now? Maia? Who else?
Masvidal. Magny. Magny's on a lose. He's ranked 5th. What is he doing?
That's what I'm saying. And Masvidal, I like Masvidal there. Yeah, I think Masvidal's up there, but I don't think that he's in the top 5, is he? Masvidal?
He's 6th under Neil Magny.
Exactly. Doesn't make any damn sense.
No, and then Carlos Condit's still 4th. What does that guy have to tell you? He doesn't want to fight anymore. Carlos Condit is ranked right now? He's number 4th. He doesn't want to fight anymore.
How many times does somebody have to tell you that they just want to step away?
It's abusive.
Yeah. Well,
it's abusive at this point,
but it's one of those circular things that I feel like Ian McCaw, as we were just saying, he's like, dude, what am I going to do? I've been training to be a fighter since I got done wrestling. Like, I've been fighting my whole life, and it's just like...
If I'm GSP, though, I stay far away from the 185 division.
I think so, too. It's too much.
Slayers
Too big
in that division.
Too big of a gap. I think it's at 170, 155. It's just how low on the totem pole is GSP willing to fight, if at all. If GSP's like, no, my contract said I only fight for the belt, or it's over. Maybe interim is the way they weasel their way in there with bringing in somebody who's not the current champ. But GSP, I could also be the type of person that would be like, I don't want your bullshit interim belt. Like, I fucking held the real belt. You're going to give me a fight with the real...
What weight class is Joe Bannon?
170. It's a fun fight. He's got with Gunnar Nelson coming up.
He isn't even ranked in the top 15.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me as well.
But you know what I think is a good fight, looking at the welterweight division? If Donald Cerrone stays in, I put Donald Cerrone's next fight against Usman. Usman deserves a shot at a gatekeeper.
That's a fun fight.
Donald Cerrone's 8 right now, and Usman's 11th. So between them's Gunnar Nelson and Safadine. So I feel like Safadine has a fight coming up, I think, already. So Usman and Cerrone, that is a fun fight.
That is a fun fight. I'd watch that.
They should have fans do matchmakers. They need a Twitter, not me necessarily, but I feel like they could do a consensus of all the people podcasting. I think they'd put together good cards. There's a lot of these guys on here that I think, have we seen Cub Swanson, Jeremy Stevens?
Yeah, we did. I thought that was a fight already.
Was it?
I think so. I think they fought before.
It just seemed like they'd stand and bang.
Yeah, I think it was a decision. I think it was a split.
I'm excited about Aldo Max Holloway. But yes. Aldo should not be... he shouldn't be the champion.
Well, Max himself was on the MMA Hour Monday talking about, I don't give a shit about your interim belt. That doesn't mean shit to me. I can beat Aldo. I'm going to go in there and beat Aldo. And Ariel, of course, like, how are you going to do it? He's like everybody knows, I'm going to come in striking. I can beat him. That's what you want to fucking hear from a contender/champion, because he's the interim, technically.
He's the real champion.
Max Holloway?
He fought for the belt. I don't feel like Aldo did. How do you
who did he fight? He fought, though. He fought Frankie Edgar for the belt.
I don't know.
He did!
I understand that he fought Frankie Edgar, but Frankie Edgar wasn't holding the belt. I feel like Max Holloway's record is just... I feel like Frankie Edgar was going into that fight on a loss, wasn't he?
No, I think he was going in on like a Chad Mendes knockout. Something like that. But Chad Mendes had just been knocked out like 2 months before. Like, it was a really weird... Or like Frankie Edgar might have won a decision to get there and then fought Aldo and just got picked apart the entire fight for 5 rounds. But he's fought Jose Aldo like 2 or 3 times. Like, it wasn't a new fight. It wasn't something that people were clamoring for by any means whatsoever. They're like... We see this. A fresh matchup is Aldo versus Holloway. Totally fresh matchup. And Holloway has looked like a fucking monster.
Do you think Ronda Rousey should still be ranked number 2 in the women's bantamweight division?
Well, because she hasn't officially retired.
But she still shouldn't be ranked number 2.
But isn't she coming out with... She was just on some fucking blind spot show or something?
Pena's ranked number... Okay. It goes Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko's number 1. Ronda Rousey's number 2. Juliana Pena is tied with Ronda Rousey for number 2.
Weird. I don't know if I've ever really seen
And then there isn't a third.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Holly Holmes. Number 5 is Raquel Pennington. 6, Sarah McMahon. To me personally, in the bantamweight, this is not the women's 145. In the bantamweight division, Raquel Pennington should be over Holly.
Yeah.
She just beat a ex-champion. Holly's lost so many fights in a row. She should not be ranked that high. And Juliana Pena should not be ranked that high. And Ronda Rousey, when somebody says they are not there anymore, take their name out of contention or put an asterisk by it.
Yeah, I agree, because it is unfair to the guys that are willing to want to fight. And she's taking up a roster spot, potentially a paycheck spot. There's just so many other
If I was number
avenues.
22 and working so hard to get my name in lights,
Uh-huh.
then I would want to be on there.
Yeah, I totally agree. The other things that were going on, as far as the MMA community...
Ferguson Khabib.
Definitely, we touched on that a little bit.
We're going to talk about it so much.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. That's like, I hope they don't look at each other.
Conor Mayweather.
The fun thing that I was just reading about Mayweather, Freddie Roach came out on the MMA Hour, talked about being in Conor's corner, I believe, and that somehow people have leaked that the promotion is standing to make UFC, if they were to get the deal they want now, cut, that they would make $20 million. And that'd be at whatever percentage, which would mean that Conor and Mayweather would be cutting around $200 million in paychecks themselves. And then the promotions would get the other $20 million in profit. But that's the type of money that they're really talking about now. So this is actually looking like the money's actually there. It really is.
It's there. The fans want to see it.
We're still going on about it as we speak.
I knew it was going to happen at the day one. Eventually,
I was a non-believer.
And this is the other thing too. In reality, if just me in layman's, if I just stepped right out of my chair and I had to go in a UFC octagon or in a boxing ring, whatever rules apply to MMA, whatever rules apply to boxing, to me the easier fight stepping in the boxing ring as a layman. Like, I just don't think I'm going to get as hurt as in the UFC octagon.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that 100%.
So you're telling me I can make 8 times the amount of money.
Yep.
And not really...
Well, it's all up to Mayweather from what I understand, because Conor's been the one who's been avidly like, guess what, homie? Guess what? You're running all this. So Sonor's ready to go.
Somebody recently said Floyd has super expensive lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody talks about all the money Floyd has compared to the money Conor has, but Conor's lifestyle isn't nearly as extravagant as Floyd's.
Yeah.
And so having an extravagant lifestyle is expensive to keep up. Mm-hmm. And Floyd, you can only keep your name in lights so long before you're going to have to step back in. And Manny Pacquiao just signed to do that fight. Who did he just sign to do a fight with?
No, I don't.
I'm going to look it up.
It's brand new breaking news. I do feel like Manny's name has been in the news a little bit lately.
I wanted to say Amir Khan, but I'm
That might be right. I know I've seen Amir Khan training as well. With a lot of MMA guys as well. I feel like he's in the MMA combat sports world and definitely a fan.
Amir Khan to fight Manny Pacquiao as boxers agree terms over a big bout in Britain.
Yeah.
So and once that happens, it's a legitimate thing that's happening, that it's going to lose steam for something if it doesn't happen in time.
Uh-huh.
So what people have to realize is, like, you have two huge vessels the size of Conor and Mayweather. It's going to take a little longer to pull them into port. Like, you gotta, it's like a slow go, a little to the left, a little to the right. I don't feel like, if it's just two dildos off the street, it'll take us 5 seconds to make a deal. But when it's two big egos, two big bank accounts.
Yeah. Where is it going to be? Vegas most... It has to be in Vegas. Has to be MGM, some huge venue.
Vegas is not going to lose this fight.
Yeah.
It's going to bring so much money that everyone's like, well, Vegas, will they just sign Conor to have a boxing license there? Because they already turned him down. Well, he got one in California, and that's his leverage.
Yep.
That's his leverage. That's all that is his leverage to Vegas, that you don't want the fight there. It'll probably bring, if a pokey event for Lapras brings $30 million to an economy, what does a Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight bring to your economy? Every state would fight for it. You could fill an arena.
I think so, and I think Florida should actually have that fight.
It would have old school Tyson
appeal.
They
should do it at goddamn motherfucking Hard Rock, or just get it on a barge off of the Florida coast. We're finding a fucking way to get there. We're getting on a motherfucking boat.
I feel like, for real, there's been a mystique that's been missing from boxing since Tyson left. There used to be, like, all the famous people win. It was so
my
cool.
family used to all get together, barbecue with other families. There'd be pools going around of what round it was going to end in. Like drawing out of a hat. There was crazy stuff, delicious food. Those were events. Also, De La Hoya, because I come up from a Mexican background, we would have that type of tradition with De La Hoya, Vargas. And then just a lot of the other smaller guys, Barrera, Morales, all those fucking Mexican fighters. Canelo now, family gets together and watches Canelo and really tries to support him. But
Beast.
Yeah, family also. My family will do this for UFC, and we've been doing this for years for UFC, where we can get into behind people and really like it. We're turning it. The fact that boxing and MMA are going to go head to head in a boxing world is going to make... It's going to give eyes to both sides of the sport, and I think that that's good for everyone. Everyone's going to stand to make money from it.
Does Conor have a chance?
Not boxing. Not boxing. Not boxing. There's not boxing. In a fight, at any other... If you can throw anything else in other than just boxing...
Does Mayweather knock Conor out?
No way. No, he doesn't hit hard enough. Does he outpoint him and maybe even make him look a bit like a rookie? I could even see Mayweather not completely outclassing him just to make the fight so people aren't like,
Would it be 12 rounds? How many?
Yeah, it'd have to be 12 rounds.
Okay, so you have a 12-round fight. How many minutes each round? 2? 3?
3 minutes? I think they're 3-minute rounds. 3 minutes.
That whole time, Mystic Matt can't land one shot. Because that's really the question you have to ask yourself. Because you have the most elusive guy that's ever been inside a boxing ring, Floyd Mayweather, against probably the smallest guy with the most knockout power. That
the weight is a tough one. I understand the.
And one more little addition.
Yes. Okay.
In the fairy tale that is Conor McGregor.
Right.
Doesn't this seem perfect? Doesn't it seem like you can picture
I've been a
I'll cry. I feel like if Conor won, I feel like I would feel that in the ring and he has his baby.
It'd be a win for MMA.
All MMA people. And it's going to be all MMA against all boxers. Yes. All people talking shit that don't have it, and people talking shit that haven't watched boxing in forever that just want to see Conor lose. Yep. But then it's also the Great White Hype. He gets all... It becomes...
Ireland is going to fill that because they do it for UFC fights, let alone boxing. That has such more of a tradition, especially back in the old world. Like, all of them have been boxing.
I feel like grown men would cry if Conor won.
I could see myself being a little nostalgic, and later on in my life, it would be one of those times that in 40 years, I'd be like, I remember watching that live. I remember being a little kid watching that damn
It's
thing
what MMA started as. Like, that's what
boxing. Yeah.
Well, no, it just started as the best discipline versus the best of this discipline against each other. Wasn't that the idea?
But that was because there was no rules. So you could use your discipline and you even warp your rules a little bit, but you're now going into their discipline. So you just don't have the time. There is rules and you have to follow their rules. So Floyd, above anyone else, knows how to use those rules and has used those rules.
Here's one little conspiracy to this. Add a conspiracy level to it. In the background, somewhere, if Floyd's company, someone Floyd knows, something is linked that they're involved in cahoots with managing Conor McGregor, Floyd will throw that fight. Because he's investing in life outside the ring. If he can invest in this kid to keep going and make him $100,000 by his company being the promoter, so worth it to take a fall.
Anything is possible this day and age, and what is that? Truth is stranger than fiction, or reality stranger than fiction a lot of the time.
Trump's our president. We are living in the Matrix.
I mean, there is things that have happened in this recent frame of time that are already pretty unreal, and it's only going to get more and more ridiculous as we go along. Like, we're only getting more interconnected. We're able to communicate through you guys right now with
we're in your ear.
Basic stuff that everybody can get.
I'm in this ear, and he's in that ear.
So, fun times await us all. It's just having a positive outlook on it, because that's all you can really do.
We'll see if anything's going on in UFC, and maybe we'll be back later in the week.
Definitely, if something else good comes up, we'll get back at you. Let's move the beat!